the guy who walked around town talking to himself into the phone, saying, what is that guy doing, right? And all of my regulars who watch, like Calden and the other ones who drive around, beep at me. But look what happened to that guy. Yeah, that guy's been busy as a beaver, opening up a new place. Anyway, we're gonna let the numbers crawl up here a little bit. I'm starting early. Why are you starting early, DML? trying to fight off the Facebook foes who I think time me for 11:40. Plus that, and I don't know. I got to get back to work, working 7 days a week. Yeah, not like I haven't been working 7 days a week. It feels like 7 days a week, 18-hour days. It's crazy. So anyway, today's the Super Bowl. So what we're gonna do is we can do a little opposite here. We'll do the walk and talk a little different. Usually I tell a story at the end. I get into the politics in the beginning. I'm gonna do something a little different this time because it's all gonna tie together. So I'm gonna start with the Super Bowl. I can't emphasize to you the sort of Super Bowl guy I am. For years, I mean, I played sports my whole life, but the two sports I played the most was baseball. In fact, for those of you who don't know, I had held tryouts with the Montreal Expos. They're not around anymore. The Montreal Expos and the Chicago White Sox. And when I was a younger guy, obviously didn't make it. And I also played quarterback, and I'm a coach. I often talk on Walk and Talks about my coaching days. I love football. It's my favorite sport. And for years, in fact, any of my friends were watching me, they'd be like, yeah, I miss those days. For years. I'm not going back, maybe as long as 7 years ago I stopped. I used to hold the greatest Super Bowl parties. We had a 70-inch television in our home back where we used to live in this place called Massapequa. Huge home. I'd have 20, 30 guys come over. We'd have a football game in the morning. You know, old guys, 30, 40, 50 years old out there playing football in the morning, drinking beer at 10 o'clock in the morning. Oh, those are the days. Chicken wings. We'd have the pools and the bets and the whole thing. I mean, my house was Super Bowl Sunday all day long. And so this year was the first time ever that I actually cut off watching the NFL. I just cut it off because I was so turned off by the despicable behavior of Colin Kaepernick and the other athletes who either turned their back or took a knee during the play of the national anthem, especially when they had it for September 11. I'm so turned off, so turned off. I don't care how much I love a sport. I don't care how much I enjoy watching guys tackling on a gridiron. You disrespect my country and the people who defend this nation today and years and decades going back. That's just not acceptable. And the fact that the NFL never came out, this Goodall guy, Goodall is anything but good in my book. The fact that this guy didn't do something or say something or come out and lash out something, I was totally despicable. So I said, you know what, you lose my viewership. And it seems like that was the sort of thing that took place all throughout the country. They try to blame low ratings and low ticket sales and all the other different stuff on the 2016 race. And I'm sure there's a little bit of that should be wrapped in there because people were so distracted or whatever. But give me a break. There's the reverse argument that says, if anything, you would have embraced Sunday football because it would have given you the opportunity to take a break from the political garbage that was going on, right? Now, people by and large lost their interest because not only are you disrespecting, all the rules. The NFL's no different. It's such as far as I'm concerned, it's gone liberal. Athletes, football players used to be able to tackle each other and taunt each other. It was fun. Guy could sit there and spike the ball and do a dance. Now you get flagged for that. They stripped the fun out. Everything's regulated. Everything's ruled. Everything's prim and proper and politically correct. I think that's why. But you know what? The NFL, just like DC, can't find its buttocks with both hands. And they'll learn the hard way. They'll see that the ratings are just going to stay horrible. I bet you the ratings say for the Super Bowl are probably not all that good. And you know what? finally they'll recognize the fact that they've ruined what was otherwise just a beautiful, beautiful event once a year here in the United States. But anyway, I want to tell you this story because it ties back to Trump. And so anyway, I will watch the Super Bowl today. I will for a few reasons. Number one is because my son is a football player, and I lose him in the next year and a half. He will go off to college, and the days of watching Super Bowls with him are going to be light at best. So, there's a part of me, I'll say to him, yeah, like he knows Dad doesn't watch the football games anymore. But the NFL today will do it a little differently, and I'll be able to justify it with something I'm about to tell you. So I'll watch it. And who I'm rooting for, well, ties to politics, believe it or not. Years ago, it was a good story. Years ago, I just wrote about this before I started the Walk and Talk. Years ago, I had to go to a conference. I'm talking about in the early 2000s. I had to go to a conference in Boston, and I had made the arrangements months in advance, and I didn't realize that when I made the arrangements, it was for the Super Bowl Sunday. And when it landed on that day, I was devastated. I mean, obviously, just telling you how I am about the Super Bowl. But I couldn't cancel, so I had to go to Boston on Super Bowl Sunday. And it turns out that the New England Patriots were playing in the Super Bowl that day. So anyhow, I go to the conference, and after that, I go over to this local saloon in Boston to watch the game. Get myself a beer and a bunch of chicken wings. And I'm the only guy. I'm dressed in a suit. Everybody else there is in their New England Patriots jerseys, obviously. All Patriots fans there, and they've got their Boston accent going. So because I got the suit on, everybody's asking me, why the hell are you wearing a suit? And the second I answer, obviously, you can tell I'm not from Boston. So automatically, I'm from New York. Now, if you're unfamiliar with that rivalry between Boston and New York, and then you don't understand the war zone I was in, but if you know it, one guy from New York in a suit, around 100 guys in Patriots uniforms, every time the Patriots scored a touchdown, I was the guy who took the abuse. I took it like a gentleman. But anyway, when the game was over and the Patriots won, I was leaving, they started chanting to me, "The Yankees suck." No matter how much you try to put football into it, it always comes back to baseball. That's where the rivalry is. The rivalry is between the Yankees and the Boston Red Sox, going all the way back to the early 1900s when the Boston Red Sox traded Babe Ruth to the Yankees, and that was the curse of the Bambino, because after that the Yankees became the greatest franchise in baseball history, and Boston went forever without winning. Well, that changed over the last decade. Over the last decade, the New England Patriots have been the best football team, and the Boston Red Sox, arguably the best baseball team. And every time they play, I root for the other team, because just, it's my rite to passage. It's my as a New Yorker, I have to despise the Red Sox, and I have to despise the Patriots. I'm not allowed otherwise. I will lose my New York stamp. All right, and it's embedded in me that I just do not like either one of those teams because I'm from New York. That's that. Now, just as a side note, Boston is a breeding grounds for every liberal, his sister and his cousin. That night, this is a side note, that night that the Patriots won, that I was in Boston, I was in my hotel room watching these people burn their own city on fire because they won the Super Bowl. Liberals. But anyhow, so today, however, is a far different story. I will be rooting for the Patriots. I will be. I'll be rooting for them heavily. And that says a lot. It says a lot considering the fact that I am so anti-Patriot. Why, DML? Why are you voting for the Patriots? Well, for a very little tiny part of me, I love seeing Tom Brady, an old guy, going to be 40 years old, or is 40 years old, winning Super Bowls. Says something like it. But aside from that, that's a little tiny thing. Tom Brady, the coach Bill Belichick, and the owner Robert Kraft have stood by Donald Trump when it has been very hard to stand by Donald Trump, especially those guys who are in the media spotlight every single day. All right? They have stuck by President Trump. So you know what? That says a lot to me. Because in the same way that I won't watch the NFL because they're kicking my country in the shins, disrespecting my veterans and my existing military today by taking a knee and turning their back. You know, these guys here, it'd be easier for them to just avoid the Trump conversation. They stand behind him. They stand behind him. And the country is bigger than any football game. You know, I've said this to you a million times, and it gets me so frustrated with these liberals and the media and everybody else. The President of the United States is our pilot, man. He's flying the plane known as the United States of America. We all gotta support this guy. You don't have to like everything he says. You don't have to like everything he tweets. But we need him to land the plane. You know? Gotta get behind him. Start rooting for him. I'm not saying you gotta go out and get your Trump pom-poms. But you know what? Stop taking your missiles and pointing it at the guy's head, man. Come on. You're making it so much harder than it has to be. In fact, in some cases, you're making it near damn impossible. And so with these guys championing for Donald Trump, you know what? My goodness, I can't believe I'm saying this. Go Pats. Say it again. Go Patriots. Oh my God. Anybody see me? Hope one of my friends are around. My friends are around. They're going to come get me. But you know what? Maybe not. I'm going to go back this way. It's always bad down there. Lose the reception. Anyway, yeah, I'm cheering for these guys. Because I'll tell you what, man. I'm tired of it. Oh my goodness, am I so tired of what's taking place. I knew it would be bad, but I never thought it would be like this. I never thought it'd be like this. And I know we haven't had a lot of time to talk about this, you and I, because I've been so busy getting our new studio and my new place up and all this other different stuff, but I don't understand it. Just this morning, watching Vice President Pence sitting with Chuck Todd. Oh, what would I like to do with Chuck Todd if I had him for 4 seconds in a ring? Oh, this Chuck Todd, this ambassador of liberalism, it's, you know, the poster boy for half-truths, comes out at Vice President Pence, and he gives him an ambush. Yeah, he ambushes him. He asks Pence about Trump and his inability to take critique. And he states that the reason why he has an inability to take critique is because Trump uses words like so-called when he's explaining or describing the judge who has shut down the temporary restrictions on immigration from the terror-laden countries over in the Middle East. So he says, he can't take critique. And so Pence goes on this little thing about, yeah, well, you know what? He can't take critique. I disagree with you, whatever it may be. And, they're giving a critique to the president or whatever. So he tries to set him up and paint him in the corner. Then he says, well, Vice President Pence, I'd like to show you this. And he plays a tape of Pence when he was, a representative. And he's on the floor criticizing President Obama that he can't take critique. That's an ambush clip. That's a cheese ball, less than a man, punch you in the back of the head when you're not looking. Pence did. Pence responded, boy, I had white hair back then too. You know what? I love that. And that's going to be part of the conversation I have here with you today. I want Mike Pence to spend more time with Donald J. Trump. I really do. I want him to spend more time with him. Because I truly, honestly believe that Donald J. Trump can be one of the best presidents in our lifetime. I do. But I believe these little tiny ticks, these little tiny mistakes And I know some of you, in reading your comments, think I'm totally off ground here. And you're wrong. You're wrong. It's the little things, man. The little things that add up. These little ticks, like using so-called judges. A so-called judge. Well, you know, he is a judge. And he was appointed by President Bush. You know, he's a judge. Now, do we like what the judge had to say? No, we don't like what the judge had to say. It was ridiculous. It is ridiculous. This is not about the law anymore. This is about ideology. You know? And look, we all know that the Bushes are pro-amnesty. We all know that the Bushes look the other way when it comes to immigration. Okay? And so this isn't about a judge saying about what the law of the country is and what it is not, and what Trump is in grounds and guidelines of doing within the constitutional rights granted upon him as president. It's not about that. It's all about ideology. Let's be honest. So when Trump comes out and he's upset, and rightfully so, because he wants to protect America, and he uses terms like so-called judge, this is what I'm talking to you about. Instead of being on Meet the Press and talking about policies, we're sitting here talking about the words used, so-called. And, you know, when somebody tries to kick Pence in the knees, what does he do? He comes back and he Reagans them to death. He smiles, he's charismatic, gives a little joke, a little smile. He makes it impossible for you to hate on him. Impossible. And yet he still gets the message out so effectively. And the thing about Trump that I would love to see happen, and maybe it will. I mean, the guy's only been in there for a little over 2 weeks. He's getting himself together. And keep in mind, Pence is a polished politician. He's been out for a while. He realizes the fact that you do catch more bees with honey than you do with tar paper, right? Trump's not used to this, man. He's not used to this. Trump has always been the CEO. He's always been the chairman. He's always been the guy who gets what he wants. He's been circled around yes men and women his entire life. And so he says, hey, we're going to put a ban on this stuff because I'm going to protect people. To him, it's the common sense thing to do. It's the smart thing to do. To him, he's keeping his promises. To him, it's all right. And you know what? To me, he's spot on. To you, he's spot on. All those things make sense. But unfortunately, to half the people in this country, it doesn't make sense. And so what they're going to do is they're going to try to scream and kick and do everything they possibly can to stop it. They're going to make it hard. Trump's not used to that. He's not used to somebody saying, no, I don't care what you said, Mr. CEO. I'm pulling it away. And so Trump says, what the hell are you talking about, pulling it away? And there he goes, and he just sends out that tweet. And like I said before a million times, he's 70 years old. He's set in his ways. You know, you're not going to take Trump and pull him out of being Trump. So he makes it a little harder on himself. He makes the narrative, and this is not good. I don't care who on this other side, how much you support me. It is not good to be talking about these things. If we're talking about these things on Meet the Press, we're losing. Okay, we're losing. Every time we talk about a dumb sentence or Arnold Schwarzenegger or so-called judges, we're losing. Okay, we're losing. Because that's what the liberals focus in on. They just drain on it. They are like the dog sitting at the bottom of the table waiting for that one little scrap. And when the scrap falls, boom, they grab it, they gnaw on it, and like a vicious dog, they won't let go. And so what you do is you don't feed them the scraps. It's that simple. Pence knows this. The other thing too, and I don't know if it's come full circle to Trump, is that when he does those little things like that, he puts his team in a very vulnerable situation. He puts people like Spicer and Kellyanne Conway and Pence in a position where they got to go on television, they got to go in front of the press, and they've got to answer the 50,000 questions that come in at them. And therefore, they're spending so much time, they're getting so beaten upon on things that really don't matter, that when it comes to the stuff that does matter, it's almost as if it's drowned out. So somebody, I don't know, you know who honestly, And I'll get the little things from you that say, DML, you got to meet with the president. Listen, it would go in one ear and out the other. There's only one person in the world who I think can really sit down it's just a total joke. It really is. I'm on the same street. I'm on the same street you guys saw. And unfortunately, too, you missed the bells while I was walking, while we froze there. But I'm actually backtracking where I started, and all of a sudden on this side it says, "Yeah, I'm frozen." I don't know. This is why we don't do. This is one of the reasons why it's so frustrating. This is one of the reasons why, like the Facebook Live stuff with the walk and talks. What a great idea. What a fantastic concept. Most popular thing I've ever done. Not the most viewership I've ever done. My goodness. All the times I've been on radio and TV and everything else. All the DVDs. I mean, millions of DVDs. But nothing ever gets the reaction of the walk and talks. And I don't know. Even on Facebook right now, we're not allowed anymore. I've been restricted. Ask me why. I've been restricted for being able to schedule posts. You go to do it, it's there. I've sent 5 messages to Facebook. Not one responded. Nope. No, but they charge your credit card like bend the clock. Anyway, so we'll pick up and we'll I'm getting close to my car. We'll pick up on where we left off. And I was saying that I thought that Ivanka would be able to sit down with her dad and say, if we just got rid of these little tiny ticks, Dad, we'd be kicking some buttocks. Yeah. And when they do come back to us and screw with us like they're screwing with us right now, or the press or whatever, let's just come back. Let's just come back with total positive. Let's shower them and just shower them with love. We'll make it so this way they have no gas to pour on the gas on the fire. That's how I would be. Woo! Sunday morning hairdo. Look at that. My goodness. My goodness. Well, you know what? My hair was wet when I went outside. Put the hat on, and this is what the result is. My goodness. I actually took a shower this morning, but I look like I'm a bum. But anyhow, like, I'll give you an example, and then I'll quickly talk about this ban and what's going to happen next. And for those of you who say don't call it a ban, I'm going to call it whatever I want to. You can call it ban, you call it restriction. I mean, it doesn't matter, man. At the end of the day, we need to slow down the immigration into this country from these nations, and not even the 7. I think he fell too short. He should have expanded it out more. And maybe he was going to. Who knows? Maybe he still will. But I mean, it's so necessary. It is so necessary. It's unbelievable how necessary it is. And so anyway, I'll give you an example. If the judge comes out and puts a stop, instead of calling him a so-called judge, just say, unfortunately, yet another judge has put American lives in danger. Will this judge help me call the families of those who lost in terrorism next time we have one? I mean, if you put it back on the judge in the sense of what it is that his ruling actually does or actually creates, versus just kind of throwing him a name call, which really, when you're calling him a so-called judge, it is name calling. And, that's usually a tactic used by the left. That's why I don't like it all that much. I mean, there are better, smarter ways we could do this, better ways of fighting this war. And again, you could call this a criticism of Trump if you want to. You call it an observation of Trump. I don't care what you want to call it. I'm going to say what I want to say. But I will say this, ultimately. It's not because he's not a smart guy. It's because since the age of, in his 20s, he's been his own boss. He's been in a world that he has created from his own hard work, from the gut instinct that he has that says, hey, this is right. This is what we should be doing. And 9 out of 10 times it's worked for him. 9.5 out of 10 times it worked for him. So instinctively, he has trained himself, which is a great thing as an entrepreneur, to trust his instinct, to trust his own judgment, and to have the people around him support what it is that he is indeed saying and what he is that he wants to do. And that's why he's become a winner. That's why he's a billionaire. So I think we have to understand what the liberals do not want to come to understand, that he is fighting back against these people because it's the only way that he knows how. And there is a certain degree of, oh, cool, this will help change Washington, D.C. There's the other side that says we may be just sitting here playing ping pong the whole time and talking about things that really don't matter, like so-called. And we're giving them the left fire. We're giving them ammunition that they don't otherwise need to have. Now, when you look at this ban, I was saying to you before as we got interrupted, this is all to do with ideology. This has nothing to do with the law. The president is 100% in line with what he is permitted to do. So how do you fight the ideology of these judges? Well, they tried to put forward an appeal. The Department of Justice put an emergency appeal together and said, hey, you got to reinstate this thing. You got to hear, come on. And an appeals court in San Francisco, 9th District, surprise, surprise, said no. And they rejected the appeal. That shouldn't surprise you at all. And see, this is one of the things that most people don't know, because it's not ever covered. President Obama put so many different judges on the benches, man. Oh, my goodness. We're loaded with these radical liberal judges all over the place in all these district courts. I mean, loaded. Most people don't know that because it's not something that grabs headlines. So now what we have to do is we're going to have to go back and do all, the court thing. And look, the fact of the matter is, This can wind up taking days. It could wind up taking weeks. It could wind up taking months. We just don't know. We just don't know until that ban, restriction, whatever you want to call it, is put back into place. And meanwhile, here we go, with more people coming into this country, not vetted correctly, really offering, as far as I'm concerned, zero upside to the American people. I don't understand. I understand what it does say at the bottom of the Statue of Liberty. But I also understand that right now, our nation is filled with Americans living in poverty. I understand this nation is constantly under attack by terrorists, both lone wolves and by large groups who want nothing more than to see your head chopped off. The FBI is overwhelmed at any given time with over 1,000 investigations in all 50 states. It is like trying to stop the tide from coming in. And so what the president has tried to do in this particular instance is just slow down the carousel so we can look under all the seats, so we can make sure that the ride is operating correctly so nobody gets hurt. Don't you understand? The liberal out there who's got the sign protesting at Mar-a-Lago, don't you understand? Would you put your kid on a ride if you didn't know that the ride was inspected? Would you put him on that roller coaster? Would you put him up on that upside down wheelie thing? If the person standing at the ride looks like, they were half in the bag, right? Would you do that? No, you wouldn't. Not if you're a responsible parent. Would you take your kid while the carousel is going around at a lightning speed and say, "Here, little Johnny, get on quick," and just toss him up there? No. You'd say, slow it down and stop it so I could get on this thing correctly, so I could put the seatbelt on him. Who is this guy working this thing over here? Somebody even checking this guy? Let's get somebody real over here. Who's checking this? What's our process here? Whatever I can't say names. They'll come sue me. What's our process here, Mr. Carnival? Who the hell you have looking at these people coming in? That's all we're asking for, Mr. and Mrs. Liberal. We're not saying take the carnival down forever. We're not saying the carnival can't come back to town. We're not saying we don't want you to have fun. What we're saying is it's dangerous right now. We're picking this out. It's dangerous. We got to stop these rides. It's too many people joining on the ride at one time. We don't got the right people watching it. We don't have enough people watching it. We need to slow it down. I want to make sure your kid doesn't get hurt. I want to make sure you don't get hurt. What's not to understand? This is safety, responsible safety 101. But they can't do it. They can't get their hands around it. They can't get their heads around it. They can't find their buttocks with both hands. And you got Chuck Todd telling Vice President Pence, well, you know what? You guys kind of rushed this through. What about we just rescind it? Start over. Yeah, okay. Wouldn't you love that victory? Wouldn't you love that victory? Having the president go on and saying, we're going to rescind this order because we just didn't do it correctly. First of all, he ain't ever going to do it because he did do it correctly. Okay? He did do it correctly. There's going to be a little bit of bumps in the road all the time. Let me give you an example of one, Chuck Todd. Do you remember when we put out this thing called Obamacare and you had years and billions to prepare and you put it out and you couldn't get anybody to use the website? Do you remember that? When the website wouldn't work? Glitches, you called them. Glitches. And the website didn't work, not for a day, not for 2 days, not for 3 days, it still doesn't work right. Where was Chuck Todd and all these people screaming about, oh, you didn't execute this the right way, you didn't roll it out the right way? Are you kidding me? What was the downside? What was the downside? Mr. Iraqi refugee or Mr. Somebody refugee had to stay at JFK Airport for 12 hours, a little longer? Hey, welcome to America. Welcome to America. Go try riding a roller coaster at Disney World. You got to stand there for 4 hours unless you want to get a speed pass ticket, which makes you wait another 3 hours. Welcome to America. Overcongested, overregulated. Things move slower than we'd like them to. So you had to be inconvenienced and sit in an airport, and we're going to shut the place down. We're going to shut everything down. We're going to march in the streets, burn things on fire. I wonder how many people got sick, or who died, or are currently in bankruptcy trying to recover from not being able to have health insurance that was abruptly pulled from them, and not being able to then get insurance because they couldn't log on to a website that we spent billions of dollars on. No outrage there. No outrage there. But when it comes to President Trump, it's the worst thing in the world. The double standard here, it's not going away. It's not going away. And that is why I say to you that every tweet that he puts out, every statement that he puts out has to be strategically put out there. You think of the left, I'm sure, and what you see, it's almost like, let me stop for a second. I say to you, terrorism. You think of a building blowing up or a building falling down, or you think of ISIS chopping off somebody's head. Okay, well, terrorism comes in many forms, right? All right. I think I say liberal to you, and you come up with Berkeley University. You come up with protesters. You come up with your sister Susie, who just can't find her buttocks with both hands. I think of a liberal a little bit differently. I think of a liberal as a cunning, very smart message giver who understands how to manipulate a message. Yeah, this is why Hollywood is so effective. This is why Saturday Night Live is so effective. This is why the Oscars that I've watched around the world are so effective. And if you don't think they're effective, you need to really wake up. You watch any movie, watch any TV show, Homeland, which used to be the greatest show I ever watched, is an absolute disaster. I'm actually watching it now simply because I feel it's my job. Seriously, if I were watching it for entertainment purposes, I would have taken it and turned it off a long time ago. I'm watching it for my job because I have to see what it is that these freaks, these Hollyweirds, are trying to sell people. The episode that we just had on Sunday was trying to sell the Iranian nuke deal as a good thing. They actually wrote a line where they had an Iranian who was being interrogated say, you know what you don't realize? Iran we've never wanted a nuclear weapon. We just negotiated a deal that we don't even want it. We didn't even want it. We just negotiated it just to make it sort of go away. What? Iran doesn't want a nuclear weapon? Yeah, what make it go away, meaning the sanctions. The sanctions go away. That's why they did it, because they wanted the sanctions to go away. Iran doesn't really want a nuclear weapon. This is what they put out there. So they make it sound like Iran is this poor nation being subjected to unfair sanctions, and they really don't want to have a weapon of mass destruction. Okay. Are we serious with this? Are we serious with this? This is what they do. That is a very effective message, because now the people who are watching that show especially the young folks, they're going to say to themselves, I'm getting weak message. That's why I'm moving. They say to themselves, hold on 1 second, so I don't kill myself, don't kill other people. Bear with me. I'm only going 50 feet. Oh, DML, you're a moving violation. I am. I am. I'm just going right here. You'll see. This should be a better reception. We're going to end anyway. So the people watching that show, they get this brainwashed little message. You know? It's very effective. Very effective. They are. I asked you the other day, and this is a bit repetitive for those of you who are with me whenever I'm on. But I asked you the other day in a poll on DennisMichaelLynch.com. It was very, very tens of thousands of people. Who do you blame for the UC Berkeley riots? If you had to put blame on somebody for the behavior of those students. And your answer, by and large, 43% was the media. So don't you get it? That media controls such a powerful message. They sneak it into movies. They sneak it into television shows. They use an entire Saturday Night Live in order to make it look like Sean Spicer is a violent man. I mean, they opened up last night with a video with making fun of him, saying, yeah, I'm here to punch you. Then he took the podium and was actually throwing the podium at somebody. See, that is the furthest from the truth of what Sean Spicer is. What Sean Spicer's doing is he's fighting back against stupid questions with a tone of, no, we're not going to answer that question. He never said he was going to hit anybody. The violent people aren't on our side. The violent people are on the left. Video doesn't lie. Unless, of course, you edit it like the liberals do. But, I mean, there's only so much you could edit on those videos. They're attacking people. The left is a violent group. But yet, they will use the power of the media that they have, the power of the broadcast that they have, to make it look the other way around. They make it look like Sean Spicer is a violent man. They put Trump on last night through Alec Baldwin, that complete flub. They put him on, and on his lapel, instead of having the American flag that Trump has, they put on a Russian flag. I mean, that's not funny. That's not humor. That's kicking in the shins the United States of America. That's kicking in the shins the presidency. I mean, you know, did you ever see, could you imagine if I had a comedy show of where I took President Barack Hussein Obama and I put a Muslim headdress on him? Oh my God, they'd shut me down. And I wouldn't do something like that. I wouldn't do something like that because all that does, that you hate him or not, that's the President of the United States. That's the presidency. You don't do that. But this is what they do, and they drive that message. And that's why I'm saying, I think Trump, and it's so early in the game right now, it's so early in the game, we can still maneuver different things and be very effective. I love 9 out of 10 of Trump's tweets, and I think they're very effective, and we could love 10 out of 10. I'd like to see Ivanka and Pence strategically write out these tweets. It's a group effort. You know, Donald J. Trump is not going to make America great again. Donald J. Trump, his administration, and the American people will make America great again. So this has to be a group effort because let me tell you, the liberals are working as a group. They're working as a band. You know, you don't have one. Even look at somebody like Michael Moore. Michael Moore isn't working by himself. He shows up with Alec Baldwin. You know, all these shows. You know, I told you weeks ago that Huffington Post and a bunch of other liberal outlets all were meeting together about how to cover the president. Yeah, so we need to be more strategic in our way over here on how it is that we're going to fight back with that. And although I like the president having strong backbone and rough elbows, there is a way of Reaganizing this. Reagan was the great communicator. Remember that. The great communicator. You Reaganize this by showering them with niceness. Now you say, no, we've tried to be nice. No. I'm not saying shower them with political correctness. Don't get your words mixed up. You shower. Reagan was anything but politically correct. You shower them with niceness. You demote them by making them irrelevant. You say, I feel bad for Alec Baldwin. It's been a rough go for many years for him, and I guess he's lashing out, and I've got to be the punching bag, and let's all pray for Alec. Right there. What you do is you belittle him, but when you say, oh, his ratings suck, now Alec Baldwin comes back and says, I'm under his skin. I'm gonna hit the pedal even harder, and look, maybe I'm wrong, and I'll be the first one to say it if I am. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this tactic of throwing so-called judge darts and picking with Arnold and his ratings. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe ultimately that's going to come out to this big, huge surprise. Oh, he didn't see it coming. But I don't know. I do know this. We have a travel ban on immigration coming into this country from very dangerous nations that is no longer in effect. The Department of Homeland Security is no longer following this very important step in making America great again. And now we have ourselves a legal battle, which is going to take up a lot of time. And I said this to you. Remember when I talked to you about the wall? I said to you, if you think that the wall is going to be built, you're wrong. And what did I say? I said the lawyers are going to get in, and the environmentalists, and they're going to just stop this thing at every turn. And you tell me, no, it's not. That wall's going up. He's getting that wall up. Nah. The lawyers are going to stop this thing at every turn. They're going to delay it. And they're doing that now with this restriction as well. Now, one of the things I'm going to look at this week as I'm getting the place ready is I'm going to look at, I'm not sure how the law works on this because I'm not a lawyer. And with all my immigration days, I think what I'm doing is I'm going to call some of my immigration folks this week and ask them. I'd like to see Trump fight fire with fire on this one. Let the courts, let the Department of Justice and the appellates and all that other stuff, let them go back and forth. Let's put up a new executive order. Yeah. Let's put up a new executive order that just says we are absolutely limiting the number of immigrants being able to come in per year. That's not a ban. It's not a restriction. It's nothing. You're just lowering it. And that right there in itself will also stop the flow. So there's other ways. I got to understand what it is the president has power on that. I don't know if he has power on that. He could probably do it, I would think, by using justification of concern over national security. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm going to call one of my pals over at one of these immigration groups who knows the laws on this back and forth, and I think that's the way we should go about it. Let's put some new executive orders. Let's get them chasing other ones and do everything we possibly can to lower the numbers that are coming in here, because that too will be very effective. And hey, President, let's put out an executive order on mandatory E-Verify, and let's start putting an executive order in on deportations. Let's just start doing that stuff. Let's take the focus and start pushing it on other things on immigration. Yeah, let's get busy. We do that. That will throw these guys for a loop. Fight fire with fire, I say. All right. That being said, I'm going to end it. Go Patriots. Oh, I repeat that. Also, if you haven't gotten the app yet, you got to get the app. All right? You got to get the app. We have taken in, I can't believe how many people on it. It's at its all-time high, new numbers. If you can do it, if you don't have it yet, go to the Apple iOS store, or go to the Google Play Store. Search for Dennis Michael Lynch. Download it. It's free. You'll have stuff all day long. Although today will probably be a little bit slower than usual because it's a very slow business day. A very slow news day, and everybody's focused on the Super Bowl. But every day, 30, 40, 50 headlines, just the ones you need to know, just the ones that are important. And we're sifting through what is real and what is not real, and we work really hard on that for you. And then this week, we'll be showing you, we'll be doing a couple things for our new location, just showing you how it's developing and everything like that. So we really appreciate it. If you get a chance, please. We're trying to expand this even faster and bigger than we originally thought. And now you can see with this kind of stuff that's going on that we just talked about here today, how important it is to have another place. Because right now, what do you got? Fox News, even if, to have another really good, solid broadcaster come out with content. I'm trying to do as much as I can with the limited resources I have. So if you get the chance today, go to DennisMichaelLynch.com/donate. And look, the great news is about all the donations you're making. I'm showing you what you're getting. You're seeing it every single day. So we keep developing. All right, that's it. I'm going to go home to Mama Lynch and the little ones. And actually what we're doing is we're going over to a furniture store to try to find a couple little things for the new place. So that's what my Sunday is. I don't get it off. All right? All right. Be sure to share and take care. God bless you. God bless our troops. God bless the United States of America. And God bless Donald J. Trump for trying really, really hard. I appreciate it, and so does my family, sir. Thank you.